welcome back to The Black Suit. If it's your first time here, my name is GeGe and I started this channel to provide tips and guidance to empower women in the workplace. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about how to deal with toxic coworkers. If it's of interest to you, please stay tuned. So, toxic coworkers is a recurring issue that I get questions about occasionally, and I want to talk today about how to deal with toxic coworkers if you are facing that issue in the workplace. The number one tip I have for dealing with toxic coworkers is you want to talk to the person who's acting in a way that is not beneficial for your career or your time in the workplace. Because that person who's being toxic toward you might not understand that his or her behavior is affecting you. So you need to bring it up and get to the bottom of why they're acting the way they are toward you. And the more you talk about it, the more they can understand that what they're doing is not helpful toward other people around them, and it is having a negative effect on other people around them. And maybe it's that simple realization that will get them to change their behavior. So I think talking about it is very important. My second tip is when you're talking to that person, you want to try to get at why they're acting the way they are. Don't just say, well, your actions are harming me, or I find you to be repulsive. You want to be more tactful than that, of course, but also you want to ask questions that will get at why they're behaving the way they are. So those kinds of questions are open-ended questions, like, what is it that makes you feel that you need to be this way around me or other coworkers? Or another question you might ask is, how can I help you stop behaving in this toxic manner toward me and other people in our team? And why questions are, of course, the obvious ones to ask to get to the root of the problem. For example, why are you acting this way? Why do you feel a need to act in this detrimental manner? So those questions will help you get at the root of that person's reasoning for behaving the way he or she is behaving. And once you know, you're better able to help that person fix the issue going on between you and him or you and her. So for example, if the reason the person is acting in the way that he or she is acting is due to their ego being hurt by your actions, then you should praise that person and help rebuild their ego. Say things like, you are just as great as I am. And I think together we can make this team really great. We could do a fantastic job on this project if we cooperate and help each other out instead of getting in each other's way or being nasty toward each other. Alternatively, you can also help boost that person's ego by giving him or her more praise in front of your superiors and other team members so that that person knows that he or she is important too. And that can help build their confidence back up, and then they won't see you as the person who's damaging their career or their position within the team or the workplace. So another reason why sometimes a person might act negatively toward you is they might just question your judgment. And if that's the case, you want to hear them out, hear their side of the story, see why they think the decision you made or the actions you've taken are not appropriate or adequate, and then think about your actions from their point of view and see if you have to change anything. Now, maybe you don't have to change anything. Maybe you are absolutely correct in what you're doing, but maybe you can improve or make a different type of decision. So hear that other person out, see why they don't agree with you and are acting in a manner that is not helpful to you. And once you hear them out, know why they're thinking what they're thinking, then you can better reflect on yourself and maybe change yourself or change the decisions you made so that you guys can be on the same page. So one important thing to keep in mind, and this is my third tip. Hold on. If you've enjoyed the video up to this point, please hit the thumbs up button. It will really help boost my channel, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Back to my tips. Tip number 3 is be sure not to retaliate. If you retaliate, it's just going to make things worse. It'll reflect poorly on you, and it'll make the other person even more toxic or aggressive. So don't retaliate even if you really have the urge to do it. It's just unprofessional, and it's not going to make things better. If you really feel like you need to do something more than just talking to the person and trying to figure it out in a civilized way, talk to HR, talk to your human resources person, or if you have an ombudsman at work, talk to the ombudsman, because they're there to support you and resolve employee conflicts. So you want to tell them, this is what's happening to me. I feel like my coworker or some of my coworkers are not seeing eye to eye with me, and I feel like I'm being mistreated in the workplace. And your HR people might be able to give you resources to manage what's going on with you, or if things are very bad, they might even be able to transfer you so that you don't have to be around that toxic coworker. So don't retaliate, and talk to HR if you need to a third party to intervene. Now, recently I read on a Reddit post for career advice a story about a woman who, a professional woman in the workplace, who came out of a meeting with a male coworker, and the male coworker told her, probably casually, "Can you schedule the next meeting?" Or maybe he put it in a more demanding manner. "You scheduled the next meeting." Now that is, I think, a microaggression, what I would consider a microaggression at work. And it's sexist in the sense that the male coworker treated the female coworker as an assistant by default. Now, it might not have been a conscious move on the male coworker's part to treat his female coworker in such a manner, but a lot of times sexism these days isn't explicit. It's not conscious. It's implicit, and it's subconscious or unconscious. And that's what makes it very harmful, because people don't realize when they're acting in a sexist manner, or making a sexist remark, or making a sexist request. And I think in this scenario I read on Reddit, perhaps the male coworker did not have any bad intentions. Maybe it was just easier for him to say, "Hey, female coworker, how about you do this thing?" Now, the female coworker felt uncomfortable, felt like she was mistreated or treated in a sexist manner. So she said no. And I think I support that sort of response to something like that in the workplace. You can simply say no and say that, how about we get an assistant to do it? I'm not the assistant here. Or just say that, I scheduled the last meeting, how about you schedule it this time? And if this male coworker is somebody who's repeatedly shown unconscious or subconsciously sexist behavior, then I would say that you, again, should talk to the person. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, talk to the person, let them know that their constant sexist actions toward you are in fact sexist, and that you're not comfortable with it. Of course, do this in private so that you're not putting this person on blast in front of everybody else. Definitely don't do it in front of your superiors, because it's just very embarrassing for everybody. You want to take some time, maybe say, "Hey, can we grab a cup of coffee? I want to talk to you about something," and then tell that person how you feel when he asks you to do things and treats you like you're the default assistant. Definitely don't let that kind of behavior linger on, and definitely speak up. Communication is so important in the workplace. And once that person knows how his actions or his requests make the female coworker feel, then he will know how to change and what to change, and that will make things better. this video was useful. If you liked it, again, please smash that thumbs up button and comment below if you've encountered a situation in which you were treated in a sexist manner at work and how you dealt with it, because I think it would really help all of us to share more of our stories and see how we've taken action to handle the ups and downs of the workplace. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.